All right, welcome to 7 Days to Die version 1.0. I'm Valerian, and this is our first look at this new version at 1.0. They finally released it after like 12 years. I've been playing this game since 2016, uh, since Alpha 14. So it's been a long time coming. Um, yeah, so here I am spawning in. I'm gonna give you guys my first impressions. I'm not. This isn't a guide, so I have no idea. I know what I'm doing. I know how to play 7 Days to Die, but I have no idea about the new changes. So I'm coming into this totally blind. So here we go. Basically, we're punching grass and whatnot, and um, making a bedroll. That's pretty much has always been the first thing that you do. And now I notice in the bottom right corner there's a challenge. The challenge window is a new thing. So we're looking at this challenge window, and we start with basics of survival, and that's what gets us our first 4 points. So it's no different than previous versions. You do the basic quests. It's just in a different layout. You just complete them differently, a little different than before. Um, so that I like. I like being able to get those first 4 points. That's really good. So anyway, yeah. So we're punching grass. We're gathering resources. So that's the first quest is to gather resources. Get stone, that kind of thing. Um. So yeah. So I've obviously had a preview of the changes. I've watched the video that video that came out on their Steam post. You know, highlighting all the changes, and so I wanted to give a little bit of my thoughts on those, what I think of those, and just combine with the stuff that I experienced in this footage here. Um, so yeah, I already like this challenge system. It it's more in depth because before it was just like, okay, you place a bedroll, you make a stone axe, uh, you upgrade one building block, which is not enough to make a base whatsoever, and then you upgrade and then you place a campfire down, and then you go to your trade. And that's the extent of what it teaches you about the game. So I like it that they're being a little bit more involved here with the challenge system, giving you a little bit more tips on how to play the game if you're a beginner. I'm always a fan of that. And plus some extra experience on the side as well. Um, and then you've got trader quests, and there's so much other things on that are on there. Um, so I think they're stepping in the right direction there as far as outlining progression more clearly in this game. I think is always a good thing. However, not making it so rigid that it seems completely linear. So I think they did a good job balancing that out there. Um, so you may have noticed that a lot of the details of the game look different. Different colors, slightly different colors to things, slightly different looks. Um, you know, the graphics engine it really seems obvious that it has again been overhauled. As far as those being needed changes or needed to really improve enjoyment of the game, I don't really think it was necessary to really work on the engine anymore, or other than it was already worked on, unless it brings better optimization. And I can't see yet whether or not that is the case, whether or not the graphics changes have made optimization in this game, which everybody complains about, um, any better. So now this is primitive armor, what I just made here, and this is actually one of the first things I saw right here that was that I think is very powerful and borderline maybe overpowered if it wasn't for the fact that, like, it doesn't it doesn't catapult your progression or anything. So I I suspect that they may nerf the primitive armor in the future, because it just seems really powerful. Like that armor rating is insane. Like you know, but then again, I've fought zombies with this armor on, and I've noticed that yeah, especially on insane difficulty, you need that armor. You almost pretty much need that armor. It's a lot harder without it. So yeah, fiber clothing being gone, I'm a fan of that. I never liked the fiber clothing. I thought it was stupid. I thought the temperature system in this game was not optimal. I don't think they ever landed it right. But so doing away with clothes and just forming clothes into armor and making them the same thing, I think is really good. Was a really good idea, and just being able to start with that extra armor, if you know what you're doing, if you're experienced in the game already, you can make the entire primitive set, and you'll have a good armor bonus to start with. So that's why I really that's definitely one of the things I enjoyed, or I'm liking about this new patch, or the release. So we're back in the challenge system again, where basically we've completed everything. So now we're going to go ahead and excuse me, we're going to go ahead and complete all of these, and each one of those gives you a little bit of experience. So which is good because you want to get that first level quick. And so anyway, yeah, no, looks like we complete everything, and once you complete those, you still get your first 4 skill points, just like before when you complete the regular newbie quests. So we've got our 4 skill points, and we're gonna put them, at some point here, we're gonna put them into strength and clubs, because that's my go-to. I could do something else. I'm pretty experienced with all the different weapon types, but I think just keep it simple for our first game. We'll go ahead and go with Pummel Pete and strength. I like to get level 2 weapon skill right away before I get anything else. So it's good that I'm still able to do that here. That was something I was worried about. I was like, okay, so are they going to allow me to do that this time around, or are they going to try to, make the game more difficult without being fun? So, I mean, see, I believe that when when you have the knowledge, you deserve the rewards. So if you are knowledgeable with the game and you have experience and you have put in the time and effort to learn the game, then should be rewarded with a better play experience. And so I'm glad that they didn't just do away with the first 4 points, but like, oh, we just want to make it harder. Well, I mean, it to a player that doesn't know what they're doing, that's still going to be hard for them because they don't know how to spend their points, and they don't know what points to do. So, being able to get that melee skill right away, I'm a fan of. So, yeah, so we're running around here, doing the usual, killing small animals and getting, and getting our first resources, and now we're headed to our trader. So, I made the map off camera, but I did this is a randomly generated map, and I'll tell you the biggest, most surprising, and welcome change that I've seen so far in this game is that when you go to make a map, you can tell it to make a preset layout of where you want the biomes. So there's no more randomness to it. There's no more like, unless you want there to be, there's no more like half the map is wasteland and then like 10% of it is pine forest, or you've got all the other biomes except snow, and it's tucked away in behind wasteland. So that no more bizarre maps like that where they're really difficult to get around, stuff like that, unless you want it to be that way. So, and it makes also the map production time, it generates maps so much faster with those preset layouts. It took me, I timed it, it took less than 2 minutes to make an 8,000 by 8,000 map. And that is incredible, because before it used to take like 10 or 15 minutes. And this isn't even my most powerful computer that I did that on. The last time I made a map, it was on my super powerful computer, and it still took that computer like at least 5 or 10 minutes. So, yeah, the quickness of map generation and more control over where the biomes are is very welcome. I'm very glad the Funpin did that. So what I'm seeing here so far now, that instance right there with that bloated zombie, he did not make a sound, and he seemed like he was dumped on me. So that, but fortunately, I can say that that was just a fluke. That doesn't happen anymore. That does not happen anymore after this. So I've not seen that happen yet after in the few hours I've played. So anyway, yeah, you know, it. Other than that, it looks pretty much the same. Most, you know, the bird's nests look the same. Like the terrain looks the same for the most part. Now the zombies, they look a little different, and I'm not really a fan of the aesthetic changes they made to the zombies. I do like that they made them look, that they made variants of each type of zombie. That is great. That really helps the immersion, but I don't like the new color of the zombies. They seem like they're like tinged, like they're really muddy and gray and just like, I mean, yeah, zombies are supposed to be gross, but they look like they don't look like the zombies that I'm used to playing with. And you know, familiarity does have value. So I mean, I'll probably get used to the new ways the zombies look, because they just look a lot dirtier in like a bad way, not really in a, you know, realistic way, like more like, you know, I think what they could do to improve this would be like not make every zombie dirty, but make some of them clean, or some of them cleaner, some of them dirty, some of them, you know, almost unrecognizable from being human, but then others, you know, very close to being human. And so I think there should be a range there. But I'm not really liking this muddy, dirty look I'm seeing from the zombies so far. So now this is Trader Rect, and one of the big changes to the traders they made is that every trader in the Pine Forest biome will be Trader Rect. So, you know, including repeats. So you won't get Trader Jen in the Pine Forest anymore. You won't get Hugh or Joel. It'll always be Trader Rect. And then they brought back the Burnt Forest biome. So now we have 5 biomes, 1 for each trader. So now when you go to a different biome, you'll be dealing with a different trader with different equipment. So I have mixed feelings about that. I think Trader Rect is hilarious, but there's a lot of people that don't like him that I've known in my time playing this. You know, there's a lot of other players that don't like Trader Rect, so that would probably be an L for them. If you don't like Trader Rect, then you're definitely not going to like this patch as much as other patches, because he's basically in the beginning all you're going to be dealing with. You know, unless you want to move your first trader, which is a possibility, but it is a pain in the butt, and it does cost precious time that you usually don't have. So, but anyway, here he is. Now, you can't get started with your regular quests like the last patch. You can't start with the regular quest right away. You have to do an obligatory buried supplies quest, intro quest, to unlock the regular quest. So basically we get this, so he gives us a shovel basically as our quest reward for finding him, and then we go and we do that obligatory intro quest. I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. I don't like buried supplies quests, so being forced to do one before I can even start gathering dew coins and getting that first cooking pot, I don't think is very fun. I think that, like, you know, some people might like digging around the dirt for, you know, to kill a couple zombies and have maybe a couple pieces of food or whatever, but I'd much rather just have a full-blown POI as that first quest that I do. Really just gets things in gear and gets me where I need to go. Because, you know, in a regular POI or a house or something, there's food, there's water, you know, oftentimes there's, you know, and then there's those loot room, you know, those loot crates are very important. And the more of those you can get faster, the better. And so I think just being forced to do a throwaway buried supplies quest that's like not um it just seems kind of like a waste of my time. So, but I mean, you know, they want to make it realistic, and you do get a pipe machine gun out of it with some rounds, and that's or whatever pipe weapon of your choice, which I guess is okay. I think to make that a little more worth it, they could, you know, increase the you know, they could increase the amount of bullets that you get initially, because when I picked the pipe machine gun, I didn't pick the other weapons because I'm not a fan of the other weapons, but the pipe machine gun only had 15 rounds, and I mean, that's just maybe just enough to kill a dog in the beginning. Maybe, but like not, it's not really a lot. You're gonna run out of that real quick. So I think maybe to give you more incentive, like, you know, but anyway, yeah. So long. So to make it short, not a big fan of, you know, of the first intro quest, because I'm not a fan of buried supplies, and I think it was kind of a waste of time. So, but anyway, yeah. So zombie combat, I think largely remains unchanged. We'll see. You may see later here that I get so I call it flicking when a zombie doesn't give an animation or any indication that it's going to swing, and it just hits you. Like, you just out of nowhere get hit when you're fighting him. When he didn't make an animation or a swing or first or anything, you know, the timing is, there was no timing at all. So there was no way for you to avoid the swing or whatever. So I call that flicking, and that actually happened to me a lot this run in this video. You'll see one instance where the they flick me like 2 or 3 times in a row, and that, you know, that was disappointing because you know, a 1.0 release, I was really crossing my fingers but hoping against hope that they were actually going to get around to fixing some of the very glaring behavior bugs in this game, and the flicking is one of those behavioral problems, and it doesn't look like they really, you know, my first impression, this is my first impression, is that they haven't really done anything about that. So it seems unchanged and remains the same, which I think is an L. I don't I think the zombie behavior needs a lot of improvement. It's actually one of this game's primary detractors as far as um like reasons to not play. It's, you know, things that upset me in the game. I think zombie behavior is like in this game is number one. Um, so, but we'll have to wait and see and play more to reach a final verdict on zombie behavior, because it still is a little too early to tell. You know, maybe there's other things that have been proved about their behavior. Um, it's just, you know, I expect when someone when a developer comes out with a new patch, that they work on previous problems that was there during that patch. And this is actually a point of contention I've had with the developers of this game. You know, I've problems I've had with development in this game is that it seems like there's a lot of, you know, um a lot of behaviors and glitches and problems and bugs and balance imbalance that has not been addressed since Alpha 15. And so I'm going to be looking for those in this you know, in this patch, you know, in this release, and if I see them, I'm going to point them out, because, like, for example, there's this one thing where if you try to get on someone else's bike and it's locked, it will use one of your repair kits, and it is so aggravating. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but when it happens over and over again, and repair kits are important in this game, and you can't make a lot of them right away. So if you do that in the beginning of the game, it's actually pretty detrimental. So it can be detrimental to you, and so that is something they have. I don't know if they've just, you know, it seems like they just refuse to fix it, or they think that it's intended. And if it's intended, I think that's ridiculous, to be honest, to give my opinion on that. I think that spending a repair kit because someone accidentally tries to get on someone else's bike how is that intended? So, and that bug has been around for years. That problem's been around for years, and it's never been addressed or fixed. So, little things like that. It's the little things I'm gonna be looking at too. So now we're at the Barrett Supplies. We're digging out. You know, we're digging out the stash so we can return it back to the trader. You know, that's the other thing I don't like about Barrett Supplies is that unless you have minor and minor skill and have good tools, like Barrett Supplies is painfully slow and boring to, you know, dig through that. But anyway, so we got a zombie here. I think she was already here when we started the quest. Now, I mean, I do like some of the changes. I mean, this isn't a 1.0 change, but you know, the treasure hunting has gotten a little better over the years. But at the same time, I think the way it was before they started guiding you and shrinking the zone each time you dug so many times, I think was actually better than the way it is now. Because I think they could be a lot more accurate with, you know, you should be able to start digging and find it right away. There should be a good chance of you being able to do that if you're smart and go dig right in the center. Chances are it should be there, and it just, I don't know. It seems, I think the mechanics of treasure hunting are very trollish right now. They're very like anti-consumer, very, you know, anti-player friendly. They're not player friendly. It seems like it's designed to keep you there digging for like half the day. But anyway, but we did find it relatively quickly. I mean, we have to do it, and it's our first quest, so it should be easy. And then if you're new and you're wondering, you know, what to do when all the zombies spawn, just remember you already took the supplies, so you can just run away. You don't have to fight them. I choose to fight them here, but it's a good thing to know that, like, with these at least the tier 1 Buried Supplies quest, when you open it, you know, you can just run away. You don't have to fight the so now we got our package and we're gonna head back here. But other than the things I mentioned, there's not a lot of difference here between this and the last patch, other than how spread out everything is, and you'll see that soon. You know, I am not one of the primary criticisms I do have so far, at least on my playthrough here. Now, maybe it's a bad map, I don't know, but the map I generated here, the quests are very spread out, and I have never liked that, and I will always speak out against, you know, quests being more than 500 meters away from the trader. I think especially in the beginning, you know, I could see tier 3s and 4s and 5s, you know, being a kilometer away, but like, or more. But when you don't have a bike and you're just running around, it can really screw your experience to have to repeatedly go out like a kilometer and a half just to do a tier 1 and come all the way back. You know, it really puts a governor on your progression, and like, in a bad way. Like, they need to find better things to fill that time with than just running around. So yeah, that's another big criticism I've had so far playing this. Initially, this first look is the quests that I ran into here were very far apart, and it looks like our trader is next to a town, which I'm glad, but as you'll see later, there's only a couple of the quests that are actually in the town that's adjacent to this trader, and that really kind of annoys me. I've never liked it when it's been like that. So there's still, I think, too much randomness to how far away the quests get placed away. I think there needs to be a hard limit, at least for tier ones, just tier ones, as to how far away they can be from the trader and from your location at the trader. So when they spawn, so like, I believe if you at tier one, there should not be a single POI that is past 500 meters. I really don't like that. The map can generate it that way too. So I've seen it do it. So like, that's another criticism I have. Anytime I see, I'll always point it out. Anytime I see, the game not, doing something to that effect. Anyway, so he gives, like I said, he gives you your choice, a pipe gun of your choice, or the pipe baton. So, in this case, we chose the pipe machine gun. I think, it may have changed, but I doubt it. But I still think, the pipe machine gun is the
I
best
got work to
pipe
do
weapon
if you
in the
don't
game
mind getting your
right now.
hands dirty.
Most powerful. So,
I'd say it's been an honor to work with you, but it would be a lie.
yeah, so we got our pipe machine gun. It's a level 1. And another thing I noticed, I haven't done it yet. I haven't done the quest yet, but when we do a quest here, you're going to notice that I'm going to get less Duke coins than I'm used to. And that is kind of an irritant because especially now that it seems the POIs here are a lot more spread out and there's a lot fewer of them here in the Pine Forest biome, at least on this map that I'm playing on. And so what I like to do in previous patches, I like it when I can just, I can do first couple quests, get 600 or more Duke coins from those couple quests, and then go buy a cooking pot from the trader. That's how I like to do things because it leaves the RNG out of it. And so being able to do that harder I think will make the game more annoying. Makes the game more annoying. So it was so and another game I'm playing, I'm running, the problem has been very apparent because I've already done like 3 or 4 quests. I still don't have the Duke coins to get that first cooking pot, which I think is really important. Unless you get lucky and find one, which can happen and often does, but like you can't count on that, right? Like your food and water is constantly draining. So, and especially in higher difficulties, if you don't have water, you are dead. Like, you can get by without food. It's inconvenient and it's more difficult, but you can get by without food, but you cannot get by without water. If like that stam regen's just, it's not enough to sustain you in fights. So, you're gonna run out of stam and you're gonna get killed. So yeah, running out of water is not an option. So anything that makes getting that initial cooking pot more difficult, I think, is just not fun, and I think only punishes skilled players because new players that don't know what they're doing, they're not going to know that you can buy a cooking pot from them. They're not going to know that you can rapid fire quests and get some Duke coins real quick to buy one. Okay, that takes skill to know those things. So, or the internet, I guess, but still, like, sorry, I hit my mic. I still think that you can, that there's no reason to make it more difficult to get a cooking pot in the beginning than it already is. I think it's balanced the way it is. So I didn't really welcome that change that they made there. So yeah, we're at a cemetery. I so far I haven't been impressed with the tier 1s that I've come across. Now that could just be the map generation. Now see, as you can see here, he has flicked me several times, or yeah, he's flicked me several times, and even though I was timing his attacks and doing what I was supposed to, here he he hit me anyway. So When that's going on, it makes the game very like difficult in a not fun way, because being able to outsmart and overcome your enemies is the joy of playing. Is part of the joy of playing, being able to overcome your adversaries and being able to outthink your opponent. So when you're not able to do that because of things outside of your control, that makes the game frustrating. So and not fun. So but I decided to push through it because this is my first quest and I really need to get my quest going. Like the first 24 hours in game is really critical. It really sets the pace for the rest of the game. Like it really, the sooner you get the things that you need, the more bullets you're going to be able to make, and the more time you have for bullets and things for the real stuff that's coming, like day 21 horde and things like that. The really advanced stuff that's the longer it takes for you to get ready for those things, the harder the game is. Oh, come on. Hold on a second. I've got technical difficulties. You know what? I'm not really listening to anything right now, so my headphones just died even though I have plugged them. Okay, so yeah, I plugged my headphones in and they should be plugged in now, so they won't go off. But I'm just gonna go ahead and keep recording without them. I'm not really listening to the sound anyway, so that's fine. Anyway, yeah, so we're at the cemetery, and I'm so far that hasn't been giving me my favorite POIs. I have there's a whole bunch of tier 1 POIs that are really good, and some of them are really bad. And the ones I've been getting so far have been mediocre at best. And there's been a couple POIs that were okay. So when you're playing at higher difficulties, when you get something like a biker zombie in your first, on your first quest, that's not cool. Like, because you're just not equipped to fight a biker zombie at that stage of the game. So, like, there are POIs that have them, and I avoid those POIs. So, because they're just not worth it. They just, if nothing else, they'll leave you almost dead, or they'll leave you dead and they'll fail the quest. It's just a huge waste of time. So, like, that's something else I'd like to speak out on. Like, I think they could do a better job at balancing the tier 1 POIs and making them, they don't have to be super easy, but not include things like biker zombies and dogs, things that you could simply do not have the gear to deal with at that stage of the game. So that's my thoughts on that. But overall, not, I mean, but again, this could just be the map generation. It probably is. It's not indicative that of the patch itself, but I would like to see at some point some more POIs that are more pleasurable to loot than the ones that have been created so far. I think overall, I think only half the tier 1 POIs I've seen have been worth it. Like, they're not just obstacles. They're like, oh wow, this had some good loot, or this not easy, but was manageable. Didn't have impossibly tough zombies comparative to the gear that you have. So like, again, if I go to a tier 1 and there's a biker zombie there, and I play on insane, so and it's like day 1, I don't have the gear to deal with that zombie. I am gonna have to run away because he's too fast. He's too, and I'm not gonna get too much into that. I'll shelve that for another discussion. But basically, yeah, I was kind of hoping they would have balanced the strength of the zombies in the tier 1 POIs, but it doesn't look like they have. It seems to be the same or worse. And I think I've just been getting unlucky with my map generation. Um, so, but that's my first impressions. You know, out of the new POIs I have seen for tier 1, they're not really anything to look at. You know, this one was okay, but I don't like doing cemeteries because they don't have kitchens, and I think, you know, you got to be able to raid kitchens your first couple quests. It's pretty critical because they got murky water, they've got, you know, clothes, all kinds of stuff that you need. And so when you get POIs like this, like Cemetery doesn't have those things, it's kind of an L. It really sets you back. I mean, you can make it up later, I guess. It's just the principle here is that every, you know, every decision you make and everything you loot, the easier the game is in the beginning, the farther you're going to progress later on. The more time you're going to have, and the more time you're going to have, the more preparation you're going to have, and that's going to make later game easy. It's kind of compound. It's kind of like in StarCraft. If for those of you who played that game, it's an RTS, but if you kill one of someone's workers, if you manage to do that in the beginning of the game before they've even started building anything, that's going to set them back throughout the entire game. You know, it's just a ripple effect. So, but anyway, so looks like we completed that quest. That was good. The loot was mediocre at best, but I mean, yeah, it's just a tier 1. So let's look at his quest rewards. He's giving us a bandage. We're going to take the bandages. That's actually pretty needed, considering that we got beat up by the bad zombie behavior. You know, the rest of the stuff pretty lackluster, but you know, the rewards you get in the beginning are usually, in the past, have been like that, have been pretty bad too. So,
listen up, jackass. You want work?
But yeah, we've got.
Well,
so
luck.
this I didn't know about this Parsons Apartments, I think, or whatever POI that I'm not familiar with this POI that I took here, but I will tell you later on. That POI that it had a vulture, a biker zombie, and a bunch of other zombies that were tougher, and I think that's very imbalanced for a tier 1 POI. So, and especially considering how far away it was. So I think, so that was something I didn't like about my first playthrough here, about my first look here. And so, like I said, one of my main criticisms is, you know, balance the tier 1 POIs more. They need to be more balanced. Because like getting a dog or a biker zombie, when you don't have weapons, you have a level 1 club that's not realistic. Now, if you're playing on super easy mode, and I don't, but even on Nomad, that would be difficult. So I think they really need to dumb down the difficulty on the tier 1 POIs, make them just, you know, run in, run out. You know, run in, kill a few zombies, grab the loot, run out. You know, and just keep doing that until you get to tier 2, and that's when you can have some of the tougher stuff, now that you've got some more better gear and a little bit better loot too, and more things to loot, which I think the tier 2s are fine. It's the tier 1s I think they need to be really retooled, and they really need to limit the kind of zombies that can appear in your first quests. I think it's pretty unfair when I get one POI where there's only a few zombies in it, and they're normal zombies, but then I could go to another game and get my first POI have 2 biker zombies in it, or a tourist zombie, you know, one of the bigger zombies, stronger zombies that take like 10 minutes to kill. I don't think that's very fair. So I think that needs to be balanced. So this POI I ended up having to run away from because it just wasn't worth it. You know, I killed the vulture, but then when I saw the bikers, I was like, this is not worth it. He's gonna kill me, and you know, now in fairness, I could kill him, right? I could take 10 minutes there and kill him, but I'm taking a huge risk, and you know, in the time that it takes to kill him, and complete this quest, I could have completed 2 others that were easier. So, like, you know, I'm not asking the game to be easy. I'm just asking it to be fair. And I'll drop it after this, but yeah, again, you know, look at the dogs and higher level zombies being in tier 1 POIs. I don't think it's right. I think that's pretty imbalanced. So I mean, things were doing okay until what you're about to see here. Oh, you know, we're 40 minutes in on the 40 minutes in on the video. I think after this, we'll see. We'll just keep going until the video ends, I think, and then we'll wrap it up. But other than that, there were still a lot of changes that they've made that I am supportive of. You know, the biggest one being the changes they made to armor. That is very welcome. And I'm pretty sure they got rid of the stamina penalties. And if they did, if I can confirm that they got rid of the stamina penalties, then yes, I'm absolutely welcome the changes they made to armor. I think that was long overdue. I think them adding debuffs to armor was a mistake. That it took way too long to correct. But see, then again, you got a biker zombie and another zombie on top of that, and it's not even, doesn't even look like it's the loot room. So yeah, these POIs need to get balanced. If they're going to be dungeon style like that, and they're going to be a tier 1, then they need to play out like a tier 1. They need not have like tier 3 and 4 zombies in them. So especially dogs and whatnot, things that you simply cannot deal with level 1 weapons and no gear and no guns. So but yeah, so we, you know, so this was a big setback, and again, yeah, it does color my opinion of this. Now, like I initial impressions, I have not been able to play this game for hours and hours and hours, which I am going to do, and my plan is to cover this,
Make it snappy.
you know, cover this in more detail and with follow up with subsequent videos, you know, extend this footage for the first look and give you my thoughts on the other stuff that's in the game. But yeah, like, but as far as first impressions, sadly I have mixed feelings about it. But the good news is I don't have mixed feelings about the stuff that they added, other than I have mixed feelings about, other than what they did to the POI layout of the map. Seems like it might be less fun, you know. So, but yeah, but I think overall, now this, we forgot to talk about this. This crate, being able to make writable storage crates right from the get-go, not needing nails, I think is one of the best changes that they ever thought of. So do not change this. I love this. I love the writable storage box right away is probably, to me, the coolest thing about this patch so far. It's huge, because before it took me days to be able to build something so that I could store my stuff, but now I'm going to be able to do it immediately. As soon as I get around to building a base, I don't need a forge, I don't need nails, I don't need any of that crap. I could just start building my storage and start storing my stuff. So that is huge. That is a massively positive change that I gotta hand it to them. You know, but then again, not to be overly critical, but I mean, this is kind of a review. This is a first look. I think that a lot of the positive changes that have been made are ones that are long overdue, like the changes to armor, the changes that should have been made like 3 or 4 patches ago. But look, I'm not gonna knock them for that. Better late than never. And and better in the 1.0 release than in the 1.5 release. So, you know, I'm just glad that they finally saw the light and were like, okay, we need to take these armor debuffs away because they're not fun. You know, and a lot of people are complaining about them. So, yeah. Now, let me see. Is the video stopped? Okay, we have about a minute left, I think. Yeah, we have about a minute left. So, anyway, that was my first look. I think overall, the changes overall are good. I'll give it about a... So far, I'm giving it about a 7 out of 10. There's some things I didn't like, but there were a lot more things that I did like about it. So, especially the storage box change. Seems pretty obscure, but it is... Anybody who builds their base from the get-go, like me, any players out there, and please feel free to comment, you'll agree with me that this is a huge change, just being able to make writable storage boxes right away. Huge change. And but yeah, I guess my biggest complaint is just the continued lack of balance with the POIs. But other than that, and then now I don't know if you were able to tell, but Trader Rect did have his voice lines reworked. I have slightly mixed feelings about it, but I really thought it was hilarious. You know, I really thought it was hilarious what he said, what he says when he's closing the store. I think that was a very good and well done, very funny. So that made me laugh when I first heard that. You know, being and I always thought it was kind of weird that another trader's voice would close the store, but then the main you would mostly talk to the main trader. So it's nice to have all, you know, each trader have that trader's voice lines and nobody else's. So, but anyway, yeah, so that was our first look. We obviously didn't have enough time to see nearly as many changes as we're gonna, you know, see. So I'm gonna, if you guys like this first look and you want to see more, hit me up in the comments, you know, give a like, obviously do the subscribe thing, and, you know, tell me what you think about this new format I'm on. I didn't edit it all. I just, you know, I just talked and reviewed it. So anyway, yeah, if you like this video, give it a like, you know, and show me that you want to see more of this, because I am willing to do a part 2 follow-up to this first look, and to keep going with that playthrough that we're looking at, that we're playing right now. I am willing to do that if you guys want it. So if I get enough views on it, if I get enough engagement, then I'll continue my review. So we'll just see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.